Well, what's going on, everybody? Today, I wanted to do a bit of an early season preview for the New York Rangers upcoming 2025 2026 campaign and kind of just break down how I feel about the Rangers, what I think the season's going to look like for them. For those of you guys that don't know, I am a Ranger fan, but I don't I'm not really a biased fan like on any team. Like I'm very even keeled with the teams throughout the NHL. I'm honestly at a point where I've kind of given up a little bit on the Rangers, and it's made me just more. I just like watching good hockey, but I still do kind of cheer for them, I guess. So that's why I wanted to start with the Rangers today. With all that being said, I'm actually pretty pessimistic about the Rangers this year. I really don't think they're gonna have a good year, and I honestly don't know what they're thinking. Like this team is just I I'll go through I'll read what they're working with right now. So this is their roster as it looks like. If you go on Puckpedia, this is what you'll see on for their roster right now. So at the center position, they got Trocheck, Miller, JT Miller. That is, they don't have Keandre anymore. Zibanejad and Carrick. I'll just read off the forwards before I get into that. Left wingers, Panarin, Cooley, Berard, Edstrom. Right wing, Lafreniere, Perreault, Radish, and Rempe. And it's funny that I actually read it like that. I think that's probably the order of if you were to rank their offensive depth, that's probably center's the best, then left wing, then right wing. But man, that is a tough forward group. I don't know what they're thinking with this forward group. You already have, out of that top six, half of them are over 32 years old. Obviously, it doesn't matter that much. If you're a good player, you're a good player. It doesn't matter how old you are. We obviously just saw that with Brad Marchand in Florida. Guy's 37 years old. He's playing like he's friggin' 27. And yet, I look at the three that are over 32, and JT Miller, Vincent Trocheck, and Artemi Panarin, and I ask myself, are these three all going to perform at a high level? And Panarin, I think we're fine. I think you know what you're going to get with Panarin. You're getting at least a point a game. Ideally, you want to see him get back to 100 points. But at the same time, it's does he have the cast next to him? He's with Trocheck and Lafreniere again, and obviously I'm pretty sure those are the two that he played with when he had his really good season, not the year prior. But, the Lafreniere regressed. And Trocheck, I love Trocheck. I think Trocheck should be captain. I think he's awesome. He's one of my favorites on the Rangers now. But at the same time, is he really? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to put it. It's he's a good player, but he's your number one center. I don't think Vincent Trocheck is a number one center. I don't see that that he's ideally on a really good team, 2C, and an elite team, a 3C, and that's fine. Big on the PK, and maybe you could put him, or maybe you could throw him in on a power play, try to tip some pucks in. But he's more of a defensive minded. He has some offensive upside. Obviously, he's shown it at times, but him at 1C, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking with that. And obviously, it's not they don't really have a lot of options in terms of okay, what can they do? But that first, Lafreniere, a lot is hinging on, is Lafreniere going to have a bounce back? I don't think so. And he's getting paid good. He's $7.4 million year one of his, oh my God. I get why they gave him that contract. I get that at the time, especially that playoff run that they had, that he did really good. I get it, but is this ever going to be? And I hope I'm wrong. I think when Lafreniere is playing really good, and when he's locked in, and when he has confidence, he's a really good player. But it's not always like that with him. And it wasn't always like that with Kakko, and it wasn't always like that with Hedl, and it wasn't these young guys that the Rangers. Which actually brings me to the points that I wanted to make about Perreault and Berard. There's a lot of people that are excited about Perreault and Berard, And I get it, but at the same time, I look at Perreault and Berard, and I'm like, how am I sure with the history that the Rangers have had with their young players over the past few years that Perreault and Berard are going to be any different? Right? And it's like, okay, they bring in Mike Sullivan, but what kind of coach is Mike Sullivan? Mike Sullivan is a coach that you put in when you're trying to win a Stanley Cup and you have a group of guys that are good enough that can make a run now. And this is not a team that's good enough. I don't even think this is a team that's good enough to make the playoffs, let alone go on a run, which, again, why Mike Sullivan? Like, nothing, a great coach, but why for this group? Right? Because this is a group that thinks that they're much closer than they are. And they're only getting further away. I mean, they've gotten rid of so many of those players that were a huge part of the team that almost made the final 2 years ago. Right? You don't have Trouba anymore. You don't have Goodrow anymore. You don't have Kakko. You don't have Chytil. You don't have K'Andre Miller. You don't have... who am I missing? Am I missing any? Kreider. Oh, my God. Kreider. You don't have Chris Kreider anymore. Like, it's like all the guys that were a really important part of that team are not here anymore. And we replaced them with Perreault, Berard, Radish. I mean, Carrick was here last year, and now Edstrom might get more time. Guys, come on. That is like, and okay, we got JT Miller, obviously, we bring it, but what are we getting from JT Miller? You know what I mean? I mean, he might have a good year. I think it's safe to say that he's never getting back to 100 points. I think that was a career year, and there was a big culture problem in Vancouver. Now we bring over this culture problem, but we're trying to have a better culture with Sullivan as coach. It's like I don't know what the Rangers are trying to accomplish here. It's like they're confused. There's too much going on where it's like, what is this team? What are we expecting from this team? Because it's clear what the front office expects. The front office expects that this half-assed version of a roster is going to be able to get them into the playoffs and maybe win in the playoffs. That's the only reason you bring in Mike Sullivan. And to me, that's the only reason that you bring in Gavrikov on defense, which, I mean, I'll get to that in a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about the forwards, but it's like, I don't know with this team, man. I don't know what they're thinking. Even when they had a better roster, when they went to the conference final and lost to Florida, they were still very much carried by Shesterkin. And Shesterkin's another problem, and now we don't know what we're going to get from him. And now we have arguably a worse roster in front. I mean, not even argue. I think most people agree that this is not a good roster. Like, what? Granted, if Perreault and Berard overperform, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like it's hard to look at this team and be like, this is a team that can really do some damage. And I think a lot of people are definitely, like, a lot is hinging on Perreault and Berard that I don't know if they can necessarily live up to the expectation. And like Cooley's another one that Cooley had a great year, and I love the way Cooley plays, and he's becoming a favorite of mine too. But is Will Cooley really? I mean, because now Kreider's gone, and now you're basically asking Cooley to come in and fill that void that Kreider's leaving behind. Granted, Kreider didn't have a good year last year. We all know that he was injured and it didn't work out last year. But most years Kreider was good for 30. I mean, that 150 goals, close to 40 in the 30s. Like, Kreider was scoring a lot of goals when this team was doing damage and when his team was playing well. Cooley scored 20 last year, I think. Obviously, he's young. He's 23. There's room for upside. But what if Cooley regresses? What if Cooley only scores 15 goals this year? That's your second line left winger. And if Cooley's not playing good, then Miller's not going to be playing good on that line either. So, which is why I'm saying he's probably only going to get like 50, 60 points. Probably. Perreault, I don't know what we're gonna get from Perreault. I mean, hopefully he breaks through, but we don't know, right? I mean, it's like they're repeating everything. Like, basically, the attitude that they have about Perreault and Berard is the attitude that a lot of people had about Kakko and Lafreniere and Chytil. And it worked for a little bit, and then it didn't. and now two of them are gone, and the one that's left is making probably too much money, and we don't know if he's gonna live up to that contract. That's where we're at with them. So that's why, like, when I hear people, oh, Perreault, Berard, I'm like, okay. I mean, I hope they do well, but it's kind of hard to get behind it because we literally just saw the same thing with Kakko and Chytil, and they're both gone. And granted, Kakko's playing better now. Chytil might, hopefully, if health permitted, Chytil does well in Vancouver. But it's tough. And then obviously, I mean, it didn't really talk about Zibanejad, but I don't know what we're gonna get with Zibanejad. A lot can change if he bounces back. The perception that I would have of this team would change if Zibanejad could get back to 40 goals. Is Zibanejad getting back to 40 goals? I don't know about that. He's been kind of showing signs that maybe he's going the other way in terms of his, production and all that. And then, Radish is in there, Carrick, Edstrom, Rempe. It's like I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking with the bottom six. Rempe's great, but you take that fourth line, Carrick, Rempe, and Edstrom, and you put them up against Florida's fourth line. Come on. Granted, is every team going to be able to match Florida in terms of what they put out on the ice? No. But I'm sorry, that line is not even the same stratosphere. They're not even close as Florida's fourth line. It's night and day. And that forward group, to me, like that forward group and the holes in that forward group is enough for me to be like that this team is, I don't know. Like they need basically everything to go right. They need Panarin to get 100 points. They need Lafreniere to not be Lafreniere, because he's been Lafreniere basically every year of his career except for one, and that's the one where he could get paid, which makes you wonder, right? It makes you wonder if that was just a contract year and he's like, all right, I guess I'll turn it up a little bit, make him think that I'm worth more than I am. Trocheck needs to probably score 30 goals. Like, this is all to make it back to the playoffs. I'm not even talking about succeeding in the playoffs, which is a completely different animal, and I doubt that this team, if somehow they get in, will succeed in the playoffs. If they couldn't do it with the team that they had 2 years ago, I don't know how they do it with this team. But Miller needs to maybe get 70 points, 75. Is he going to get 70 points? I don't know about that. Perreault needs to be good. Cooley needs to basically equal, if not, hopefully do more than he did last year. Zibanejad, at least 30 goals you'd hope for. If this team wants to really make it known that they're gonna, that they're a contender. They're not a contender, but if they're in that illusion that they are a contender, Zibanejad needs to score close to 40. He's not. I don't think he's scoring close to 40 goals. I don't even know how Berard needs basically to do the same thing as Perreault, needs to live up to the expectation. And then you got to get some good depth out of Radish, Rempe, Carrick, and Edstrom. And I'm sorry, these guys, they haven't had a lot of faith from prior coaching. And I don't think they're going to have a lot of faith from Sullivan either. And then you go to the defense, and the defense is like, okay, there's a lot. You got Gavrikov, Fox. Fox is Fox. Obviously, you hope that he gets back to his ability. I'm of the camp with Fox that I don't think that he is a guy that is going to bring you a Stanley Cup. And can he get you to the playoffs? Yeah, he can get you to the playoffs. Can he maybe win you a round, 2 rounds? Yeah, he has. He's been there for those runs. But when the going gets tough with this guy, I don't know, man. It's tough, and you saw that in the Four Nations. You saw how he played. He did not have a good tournament at all. And when the play got to that highest level, they crumbled. And I don't see any reason why this guy is going to change. Like, I think he's one of those players where he is what he is. And yet he's the highest paid defenseman on the team. He is the core of the defense. And everything else kind of falls into place behind him. And that, it sends a message. You know what I mean? Like when you look at a team, Florida's the gold standard. Obviously, there's won back-to-back cups, but you look at the way Florida structured their defense. From the top down, that defense they bought into that style. That whole team bought into that style of play that they had. But you got Forsling, you got Jones, you got Ekblad, you got Schmidt. So he's gone now, but Mikkola, and then who was the other? Kulikov, right? You got that whole group just fell in line, and you could say that. I mean, this run, I think Jones probably played the most, and he came in at the deadline, which is crazy, but. Really, like, they all kind of followed the lead of Ekblad, and Ekblad kind of passed it on to Forsling, and now Jones comes in. They all kind of became a similar type of defenseman. And you look at the Rangers' defense, and you're like, do we really want the whole team to kind of fall behind and play a similar style as Fox? I don't think so. Right? I don't think that's going to win you a cup. It's clearly not going to win. I mean, you look at the teams that have been winning cups in recent years, and it's like they don't have a Fox. There's no team that's winning a cup with an Adam Fox. Like, it's not happening. It's a completely different, and that's playoffs. Again, he can get you to the playoffs. He can maybe win you a round or two. He has, but I don't know. I don't think that this is a defense. And sometimes it's like you look at some of these players that have had good years, and you hope that, They trade them at like max value, and they never do, and then they get stuck with them, and now here we are. Now we hope that he turns it around, but he might. This is one that maybe I'll eat my words on it, and if I do, okay, But I'm not a big fan of him. I don't know. Gavrikov, I don't get it. I do not get the Gavrikov thing at all. Especially because we trade K'Andre Miller. And I know there's a lot, especially if you're aware. I mean, people probably that aren't even fans of the Rangers probably know that there was a lot of disagreement, disagreement over K'Andre Miller. And yet, he's a young defenseman, has shown signs of potential. We get rid of him and we bring in Gavrikov, and that we sign him for a UFA, $7 million a year. It's like 36, and like, come on, guys, what are we doing? Good defenseman, but like, just keep Miller at that point. Why? And this is a contract that 2 years from now, when Gavrikov is not living up to the bill at all, because I'm sorry, I don't care how good he looked last. He's not a $7 million player. Even with the cap going up, he's not a $7 million player. I mean, good on him, he got his money, but he's not. He's $7 million for Gavrikov. I think he scored 5 goals last year. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he scored 5 goals. Granted, I know he's a defenseman, fine, but I'm pretty sure he scored 5. I want to see his stats. Let's see if they have him here. 5 goals, 25 assists for 30 points. That was that was the most points he's put up in a year at 29. He's a defenseman, I get it, but 30 points, 7 mil. I'd keep Miller at that point. I would take that chance. I would, even with the salty Ranger fans, they're Miller's not so good. Gavrikov over that, no. It did not make sense. The second I saw that, I'm like, this is the stupidest signing they've made in a long time. And I've seen the Rangers make some stupid signings over the year. I started watching the Rangers in 05-06. I saw them sign Gomez. I saw them sign Drury. I saw who's now signing these stupid contracts himself. He would know a thing or two about stupid contracts. I saw them sign, what other dumb one? We brought in Richards at one point. They love doing this. They love signing guys like this, that it's just like, this is a stupid contract, doesn't make any sense, but it's New York, it's what we do. And it's like, this is going, like, I'm pretty confident in saying that they're going to regret this contract relatively soon. Maybe not this year, but relatively soon they're going to be like, that was a stupid contract. There's probably no need to sign that. And then you got Soucy, Borgen, Schneider, and Morrow. Obviously some Hope and Morrow, and then they got in press box here Brodzinski, Othman, and Vakanainen. I think Vakanainen will probably play more than Morrow this year, but maybe not. I don't know. I know there's some upside with Morrow. People are pretty high on him. Hopefully he lives up. But again, you're taking a chance. And it's like, this is the difference. It's like we had Miller, and we basically knew what Miller was, and yet there was still a potential for upside with Miller. And granted, will he ever live up to that? I don't know. But at least you knew what you were going to get with Miller. We don't know what we're getting with Morrow. We don't. We have no idea. We hope that he's going to be able to play well, but we don't know that he's going to play well. We're not sure. And that's a guy that now is in the top 6. And, Borgen, a lot of people are high on Borgen. I mean, okay, I get, again, I look at this defense group, and I'm like, this is the defense group. Soucy, Borgen, and Gavrikov. Like, these are the guys that are going to get us into the playoff. If they do, like I said, they need basically everything to go right. And then obviously you have Shesterkin and Quick, and that, a lot hinges on that too. I mean, what Shesterkin are we getting? I don't know. I hope we get the Shesterkin that a lot of Ranger fans love, but I don't know. What if he's starting to what if his career's starting to go the other way? Like, there's so much here that feels like it's on a, I guess, kind of, I don't want to use this term, but thin ice, excuse the pun, but they have a lot hinging on players bouncing back and having really good years, and I really don't know what to expect with this team. I'm not confident in this team. I'm skeptical of this team. I don't see it. Like, there's just really there's no point on this roster where I'm like, this team can really do something here. Right? I genuinely don't see it. But again, I'm a skeptical, salty Ranger fan, I guess. So maybe from an outsider's perspective, be like, oh, there's something here. But again, I'm struggling with this roster. I'm struggling to see what it is that management is seeing. And I do not think that Mike Sullivan is a good enough coach to change this. He's not. Like, nobody is. You know what I mean? Like, there's no coach that can make this roster better. There's coaches that could push buttons, and he's great at it. But you still got to have the pieces, and we don't have the pieces. We don't have them. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I want to share them with you guys. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't see it. I don't. Washington's probably they're going to regress, but they're probably going to be good enough to make it. Jersey should be better. Who else made it out of the match? Carolina's going to be fine. Carolina's going to make the playoffs. And then the other two teams, the wild card teams, were from the Atlantic, Montreal and Ottawa. So are those two teams going to fall out and give the Rangers a spot? I don't think so. I don't. I think Ottawa and Montreal are way better than this. So you need, I guess, Washington to fall off a cliff like we did this year to maybe make it back. But I really don't see it. I don't see it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Maybe you guys see this team differently. That's my prediction. I don't think this team's making the playoffs. I think they're going to struggle this year. I don't know where they're going to finish in the Metro, but are they the worst in the Metro? I guess that'd be debated. I mean, I don't know, though. I think Columbus is going to be knocking on the door. The Islanders maybe could make it. I mean, I don't know if they will, but I think the Islanders are better than this. I think, who else are we working with in the Metro? Philly. Maybe we'll do better than Philly. Philly's they're in a little bit of a hole in Philly. I don't know about Philly. Pittsburgh is one of those teams where it's like you always think that they might make it, even though they have no business. I mean, obviously they're like they're gearing up for full rebuild, but at the same time, it's like, Crosby and Malkin are still there. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be there at the end of the year. They're probably going to be gone. At least Malkin's going to be gone by the deadline, and maybe Carlson. I don't know what they're doing, but I think even older and not as good versions of Malkin and Carlson. I mean, Crosby's Crosby. He's going to be good, and they probably played at least 55. But I don't know if he's staying either. But I still think that. I honestly think. Okay, I don't want to be too crazy because I guess this team's better than Pittsburgh. I don't want to be too pessimistic. This team is probably better than Pittsburgh. But I would not be surprised if this team was worse than Pittsburgh. Right? And again, a lot of people would be like, come on, what are you talking about? But it's like, look at this roster. What is Drury seeing in this? What does he see? I don't know what he sees. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. I could be crazy, but I genuinely don't think that this roster is anywhere near sniffing the playoffs, let alone getting in and then doing something to play out. No, this team is not nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. There could be some bright spots. Maybe Borgen plays really well, lives up to that new contract. Soucy can hold his own. Morrow overperforms. Some of the younger forwards overperform. Maybe. But I don't think it's likely. But that's just my opinion. I want to share it with you guys. That's my prediction for the Rangers this year. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys again in the next one.